what would be the first step for someone who's interested in maybe pursuing Bitcoin as a mode of currency or just to learn more? Whether taking your course, is that online? Is it available for everyone?
Yes. So everything that we do is free and open source.
Really?
Yeah. So I've got a little visual aid here. This is the Bitcoin diploma. This is kind of our flagship product. We work with educators in 40 countries around the world, including a variety of educators in the US. It's translated into 20 or 30 languages at this point. We also have intro classes. We have everything that we do is targeted at people who are brand new to Bitcoin. So it gives a base layer of financial literacy, and then we talk about Bitcoin, and that's free. There's classes in person, depending on where you are, or everywhere. There's classes online, and you can find out more about that at our website, which is myfirstbitcoin.io. And besides us, we are the largest Bitcoin education nonprofit in the world, but besides us, there's a ton of Bitcoin education resources. You could just search on YouTube or a variety of other places. Some exchanges, I know Coinbase is big in the US, and they have a program. I think this is actually common. I think most exchanges in the US have this now, where they have some sort of educational materials that come with it. I would caveat that a little bit in that exchanges have their own incentives. Everybody has their own incentives. Exchanges want you to trade. That's how they make money. So they want you to trade from coin A to coin B to coin C, back to coin A. So just take that with a grain of salt with everything, right? Everybody has incentives. We have tried to develop our program at My First Bitcoin in a way that aligns the incentives to best serve the student. We don't take we're entirely funded by the community. So we're by the community for the community. We don't take money from governments. We don't take money from exchanges, from corporations, because they all have incentives and they would all try to steer us in a certain direction. We want to be captured by the interests of the community, by the interests of the individual new to the space. And we are. So I'm biased, but we're a great resource, but there's tons of other resources out there.
You sure you don't want to come back to the U.S. and run for office?
I might come back to the U.S., but I will not run for office.
Oh my God, we need more people like you, for the people, by the people. Oh my goodness. So, okay, so if I wanted to, so do I have to go through an exchange in order to purchase Bitcoin?
No. Okay. Many people do. There's a few ways that you could get Bitcoin. So, you could sign up on an exchange and link it with your bank account and send dollars and buy Bitcoin. You can also do peer-to-peer trading. I don't actually know what that looks like in the US at the moment. I know in the past I used a website called Local Bitcoins, but that's not in service anymore. I don't know what the peer-to-peer landscape looks like in the US now. So peer-to-peer is just individual to individual, right? Without having the exchange.
So is it like a PayPal, but for Bitcoin?
Yeah, something like that. And then the third way is you can earn it, right? So if you have a business, if you have a side hustle, accept Bitcoin as payment. And not only is that a way for you to accumulate Bitcoin, it also, depending on what that business or side hustle is, it's also pretty advantageous if you do any international work, if you want to accept international payments, because it's the same. Bitcoin is borderless. If you're in the US, or if you're in Nigeria or India or China or Europe, it is exactly the same for everyone. It is just as easy for me to send Bitcoin from someone sitting across the table from me here in the same country or someone across the world.
Wow. So it's universal and the value is the same. It doesn't change. Like the currency in the US is different based on the pound or the euro, wherever you are, the yen.
Right.
Interesting. Well, you just said right there why people don't want everybody using Bitcoin. So let's talk a little bit, shift and talk about the safety of Bitcoin. Like, how do I keep my how do I not get hacked? How do I, and these for me, because this is all new for me, it's very novice question. So how do I guarantee the safety of my Bitcoin? How do I ensure, like, where do I hold the Bitcoin?
Right. So one of the great things about
this is so exciting.
So probably the most common way that people get their first Bitcoin is to buy it on an exchange, and maybe they keep it there. But the exchange could get hacked. There's counterparty risk, right?
Okay.
It's not likely to happen, but it's not 100%, right? There's always risk. So what I do, and this is the opposite end of the spectrum, is I have all my Bitcoin in something called self-custody, right? So I control it, I own it. So it could be a device. It's like a USB that has all the information needed to access my wallet. It's password protected, and I plug it into, my laptop, and it's on that device. I hold it. If anything happens to it, it's because I made a mistake, not because somebody else did. Whereas if it's on an exchange and it gets hacked, then you might have done everything right, but maybe the exchange did something wrong. Again, this is very unlikely. A lot of exchanges will probably have some sort of insurance and some like remedy for that, but there is some risk there. There's also risk for self-custody, right? So this is very different from how the world works today, because how the world works today is the individual does not have a lot of control in their own life. Mm-hmm. So if you forget the password to your bank account, you could reset it. If you lose your card, they could issue you a new one. The reason why they could, with self-custody Bitcoin, you can't. And so on the surface, that sounds scary. And it is, right?
Yes, for someone like me. Oh my God.
But if you take a step back and you think about like why that is the case, then Bitcoin starts to sound revolutionary. So the reason why you won't lose access to your bank account is because somebody else has control over it, right? Somebody else has access to it.
Right.
And that access also means that somebody could tell your bank, and in the case of Bitcoin, the exchange, to freeze it, right? It's like, oh, they didn't pay their taxes, they donated to the wrong organization, whatever it is, freeze their account, right? Because somebody else has that control over it. Whereas with Bitcoin, no one does. So it's kind of like with that responsibility comes with that power comes responsibility, right?
So literally, all my money could be in this makeshift lipstick tube device.
All to the extreme. All your money could be in your head, right? So you could memorize it. You could memorize like how to get access to it. That's not recommended because that's easier to hack. What we memorize is easier to guess for like a brute force hacking. So you shouldn't do that, but you could. But so the way that best practices for self-custody, like how I have it. So I have access. So say I have this device that I plug in, and that allows me to access my Bitcoin to spend it, to send it out. What I have done and what you should do is so if you do that, if that's all you do, just put it on this device and you lose the device and you forget your password, it's gone and no one can help you. No one else has access to it. What I do, and this is something that gets better with time, easier with time, is there's something called a seed phrase, which is effectively it's a string of 24 words. And it is a backup, right? So you can restore your wallet. You lose it, you forget the password, whatever it is. If you have this list of 24 words, then you could restore it. So you keep that someplace safe, right? And maybe you divide it into two parts, right? So it's not all in the same place. And you give one to somebody that you trust, and you keep half. So even if or you
So
do
like
two
maybe
of three, like
husband and wife. The husband would keep the first 6 and the wife would keep the second. Okay.
yeah, something like that. And then if you you lose the device, you lose it, it gets stolen, whatever it is, um, then you have that backup.
Okay.
However, if you self custody your Bitcoin and you did not back it up, and then you make a mistake, you lose the device, then you're in trouble. So
Oh,
there's a lot of power, but then there's a lot of responsibility. And this is the sort of thing that with time is getting easier and easier because there are many entrepreneurs and innovators that recognize this as an issue and they're trying to solve that. So for example, there's I haven't used this, but Block, which is it's a publicly traded company. They used to be called Square, so they do like payment apps and stuff like that. I think last year, they came out with a wallet which is it's a multi-sig, so you need 2 of 3 people to sign it, right? And
oh.
I might be getting some of these details wrong, but the
No,
general
but
concept,
this is good though.
the
I'll feel a little bit more comfortable with that.
the general concept is they have a key, so you need 2 of 3 keys. They have a key, you have a key, and like some other person has a key. So if you lose your key, you could still get access. You could be like, hey, I lost my key, and
Okay, the other 2
I
people.
verified that it's me. So, you have a key and you have a key, so let's put them together. But they can't access it because they only have 1 key. So you need to tell both those parties to access it, or one of them if you lose it and you need it. So again, I think I probably got some of the details wrong, but the point is that it has been recognized that this is a barrier to entry to new people entering the space, and with time, things are getting easier and better, where you still retain that power, where nobody could freeze your funds, nobody controls it except for you, but it makes it a little bit easier to do it. And that every year will get easier and easier.
Yeah, because I mean, think about the password too to get in. You can't use like 123 2026. You got to come up. And people can barely remember phone numbers now, if there's because everything's programmed in the cell phone. And I'm like, wow, but that's great. Okay, so people are looking at solutions as more people start to adopt.
And Bitcoin is a journey. You won't, on day one, you won't do it all. You won't be able to do it all. You won't be able to use it to its maximum potential. It's a journey, right? You'll get it. You'll learn a little bit more, get a little bit more comfortable, take one step further towards complete control and sovereignty, and one step away from relying on third parties and relying on others for your money and your power. So it's a journey, and you don't have to, and you never actually arrive at the destination, right? Because there's always, it's such a powerful tool that there's always more that you could do with it.